So when you know you have a primary candidate whose only option is to get Trump thrown in jail, that refuses to concede and suspend her campaign, that means she necessarily must be rooting, like the Democrats, to put Trump's ass in jail. That's all I can come up with that. That's it. The election's over. Those are all the swing states. About every one of these states, the election stopped being counted in the middle of the night in 2020. Coincidentally. I don't know how. Pipes bursting. They covering up windows and precincts so nobody can look in, the ballot watchers. These are the states, somehow, that all have voting malfunctions 4 years ago. Hopefully they can get their shit in order this time, huh? As if that's actually the problem. But we did have some elections over the weekend. There was the South Carolina primary, which to nobody's surprise, Trump ran away with. Almost 60% in Nikki Haley's home state. Not to be outdone, there was also a primary in Michigan, where Donald Trump won almost 70% of the vote in Michigan. Now, this has a lot of people, especially Nikki Haley, saying that, look, there's 30% in these states that Trump still can't get as basically an incumbent. There's a little bit to be said about that, but if you tell me that this 30% is so anti-Trump, so Trump deranged, that they would vote for Biden and vote for these policies that we got right now, these open borders and this weakness around the world and this inflation and everything else that's going wrong under this Biden administration, that they're going to vote for that just because they think that Trump is a little mean? I don't think so. I think that the party will unite. I'm not sure about Michigan and South Carolina. I don't know the rules if independents and Democrats can vote in the Republican primary in those states. Maybe so. Maybe that threw off the numbers a little bit. If not, if it's strictly Republicans, I definitely believe the Republican Party will unite behind Donald Trump. Now, Nikki Haley's vowing not to get out the race, but nobody knows why, because nobody is voting for her. Some think big donors, Chancellor Trump remover, are keeping Haley in the race. But Americans question why Nikki Haley remains in GOP primary. Quote, she's out of control. So she's over there calling Trump too old, sitting there saying that, her and BlackRock, she's going to bomb everybody and, I guess blow the world up into submission. I don't know, man. She's a snake. She just will say whatever she wants to get elected, and she is one of these bought and paid for politicians. Believe it, because without the money, she's going to be in trouble, and she won't be able to continue on these campaign stops much longer. And I believe that to be true. And here's a story about that. Americans question. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong headline. Boom. The Koch network stopped spending on Nikki Haley's presidential campaign. Americans for Prosperity Action said it had to take stock, quote unquote, after Haley's loss in South Carolina. Americans for Prosperity Action, the powerful conservative group supporting Nikki Haley in the Republican presidential primary, will no longer spend money on behalf of her campaign. Man, quote, she has made it clear that she will continue to fight and we wholeheartedly support her. But given the challenges in the primary states ahead, we don't believe any outside group can make a material difference to widen her path to victory. So her own donors, their big money, her deep pocket donors are starting to defect, starting to say we're going to focus our money and our attention and our time elsewhere where it might be more fruitful and beneficial. And Nikki Haley just going to keep going, huh? Just hoping, pulling for the Democrats. She's mad. She's probably pulling for Fani Willis, trying to put Trump in jail so she thinks she can go to the convention with more delegates than DeSantis or anybody else and claim the mantle and then just get, pushed into the Republican nomination. I don't think it's going to work like that. I don't think the convention would even go for it. Americans won't go for it, that's for sure. So when you know you have a primary candidate whose only option is to get Trump thrown in jail, that refuses to concede and suspend her campaign, that means she necessarily must be rooting, like the Democrats, to put Trump's ass in jail. That's all I can come up with that. So if that's somebody you want to vote for as president, somebody that wants to put the political opposition in jail, Soviet style, Putin would be proud, baby. Think twice about that and who you want to put your vote for if you happen to be an independent or a Democrat out there that's hate watching. Maybe you can learn something, take some notes, and remember, Nikki Haley does not have anybody's interest but her own. Power and pockets. That's what she is campaigning for, to further both of them. Now, some stories out of these primaries about these swing states coming up for the general election that were so big last time, that 7 key swing states, Biden trails Trump in all of them, as most key Biden voters say he's too old, poll finds. President Joe Biden is trailing former President Donald Trump in 7 swing states, according to a new poll that found almost twice as many voters say Biden, 81, is too old compared to Trump, 77, as the president tries to flip the script on age concerns by highlighting Trump's gaffe. Key facts: Biden is trailing Trump by an average of 5 points in the 7 swing states. North Carolina, 9. Arizona, 6. Georgia, 6. Nevada, 6. Pennsylvania, 6. Wisconsin, 4. And Michigan, 2. The Bloomberg Morning Consult poll found. Now, that's it. The election's over. Those are all the swing states. And about every one of these states, the election stopped being counted in the middle of the night in 2020. Coincidentally. I don't know how. Pipes bursting. They covering up windows and precincts so nobody can look in, the ballot watchers. These are the states, somehow, that all have voting malfunctions 4 years ago. Hopefully they can get their shit in order this time, huh? As if that's actually the problem. But yes, he's leading currently in all of them. I don't know what the Democrats are going to do to turn that around or spin that, or how they can pause the election again in all these states again to change whatever they want. I don't know. It's going to seem a little too fishy to me if you ask me, but what do I know? I'm just an election denier, I guess, is what they want to call me or whatever, because I have my own opinion about 2021. But they had some polls up. Here's some of the data from this polls, okay? In the 7 swing states, there we are, +6 in Arizona, +2 in Michigan, +9 in North Carolina, +4 in Wisconsin, +6 in Pennsylvania, Nevada, and Georgia. And you can see the trend in most of these states is that in only 2 of them, in Michigan and Wisconsin, has Trump's polling gone down slightly. The rest are holding steady or going up. But in both of those, or actually in Wisconsin, Biden has gone down with Trump, but somehow in Michigan, Biden is climbing up a little bit to get almost even with Trump at +2. Now, usually I'm not a guy that relies on polls very much. Polls often oversample Democrats. They're a tool used by the left to sway public opinion so that they can make other people feel less obstinate, less obtuse for voting for their candidate. That maybe more and more people are like him. Maybe they're in a majority, that majority of America actually feels that you could vote for him, so you don't want to be in a weird minority. All these polls are used to sway public opinion, and they oversample Democrats. But if it's coming out like this, even with oversampling Democrats, you know it's good. Here's more poll results on that. One of the questions that was asked, thinking about the 2 frontrunners in November 2024 election for U.S. President Joe Biden and Donald Trump, please indicate which candidate is described by each item below as too old. 44% and 38% said that either Biden or both were too old. So for Biden, that's an 82% number. By the way, that's what that math is. How you like that math on the fly? 82%. Oh, X written right there. I wasn't cheating. 82% thought that Biden is too old, and 47% say Trump. Dangerous. Now, some people think dangerous. That's that whole liberal media spin out there. That 45% of respondents apparently think Trump is dangerous, and 34% think that Biden is. Well, I think Biden's dangerous in a different way probably than these poll people took it, but yeah, totally. So on all issues in this poll, too old, there it is. Mentally fit, Trump wins and Trump leads. In good health, Trump leads big time. Dangerous, Biden leads. Compassionate, Biden leads. Cares about someone like me, it looks pretty even. A strong leader, Trump leads, obviously. Honest, Biden's slight edge and shares my values, it looks split down the road. I like how compassionate Joe Biden is, the little sweet old man kind of vibe, man. that he's passionate. Okay, all right. Well, what about these issues? In the same poll, what is the single most important issue to you when deciding how to vote in the November 2024 election for U.S. president? These two issues are far and away the biggest, and the green one is the economy, and the gray one is immigration. If you look on most all of it, immigration is coming up. Economy is starting to go down and meet immigration, but the good news is for Trump supporters, MAGA, or anybody that just is against this liberal cabal, Marxist globalist cabal, is that all of these issues bode well for Trump. And those are the two most important issues to the electorate. All right. So last poll from this data, based on what you know, how responsible, if at all, are the following for the increase of migrants crossing the U.S.-Mexico border? So corruption in other countries is gone down in this last month. They don't think it's the other countries. The opinion's starting to go a different way within a month. Difficult economic conditions in other countries. Numbers are going down. President Joe Biden, that green dot's passing the gray dot. They're starting to blame him more and more. Democrats in Congress starting to get blamed more and more. War in other countries, they're not blaming that anymore as much. Famine in other countries, they're not blaming that anymore. Republicans in Congress and the Trump administration are both going up too. So what this tells you is that even though, now if you look at that poll one more time, those numbers are way down there below 50%. Those are the only ones that are 50%, but they are rising. So some of this campaign the Democrats are on right now saying the Republicans don't want to work with them to fund that border bill that was all about Ukraine and foreign aid, and the actual border stuff in there was terrible for this country, terrible for the rule of law, and terrible for giving any president any power to do anything about it. But the liberal media will take that mantle and run with it, take their talking point and run with it. And apparently it's had a little bit of moving of the needle happening for Democrats and people blaming Trump and Republicans in Congress, even though that number is far below 50%. But I will put this up one more time to remind you. Biden took 94 executive actions in his first 100 days to dismantle border security. He has all the authority he needs to reverse those actions and end the crisis, but he refuses. That's the difference. Do not forget, I cannot say this enough. Nothing was passed in Congress about the border. Think about that. Not one border thing was passed. No bill, no amendment, no nothing was passed since Biden's been in office. Everything that's happened to the border has been by executive order, meaning straight from Joe Biden and his pen to Mayorkas and the Democrat machine. That's it. Congress has no responsibility except for their failure to act. But it just shows you how much power the president has to stop this, why the border was so good under Trump, and why it is now so bad under Biden, and how he is the one that literally pulled the levers with his pen to open the floodgates and roll out the red carpet. So the fact that they're actually starting to come around that's going to piss me off. But as long as the numbers stay super fringe like that, then that's okay. But the tide is starting to turn on every poll against Biden and for Trump. It is about to be March. Happy leap year day. We're getting there. So with 9 more months to go, we will see how this shakes out. So if you like that clip and you want to see another one, click right here. And if you want to see the full episode, click right here.